Let me say this. This has been a very tedious investigation that has not been completed at this time. And you may ask some questions of myself or the district attorney that we cannot answer at this time for certain reasons. But at the end, we will be glad to answer any questions you may have. On Thursday morning, April 8th, 2021, at 12:52 a.m., numerous calls was received by our Alamance County dispatch services. Numerous shots had been fired at 1051 Wyatt Road, Lot 27, in Mobile Home Park. Our officers responded and upon arrival found two individuals at that address. Found that they had been shot. One was deceased. That was Alonzo Beltran Lara. Was not deceased. Barney Harris was. What we have here is two criminal enterprises. One belonging to the Sinaloa New Generation Cartel, that the trailer was a stash house. The other being the criminal enterprise that were robbing the stash house, or attempting to rob the stash house. What was found was over 30-some shell casings in the trailer and outside of the trailer, and 3 other mobile homes in that particular park with bullet holes in them. The investigation, after numerous hours, we assumed what happened was that Mr. Alonzo Beltran Lara, which was a drug runner for the cartel, lived in that trailer with another Latino Spanish individual, but no one was there. So what we feel like happened, Mr. Barney Harris got there earlier, and that has been found to be as a result of phone information that he arrived there about 20 minutes earlier. We feel like he went into the mobile home and sat and waited for Mr. Alonzo Beltran Lara to come. Upon Mr. Alonzo Beltran Lara entering, he was taken into custody, I'll say. Hands were behind his back initially, it looks like, and his feet was bound. He was shot at some point in time during this 2 times in the back of the head, execution style. The trailer looked like it had been ransacked looking for either money, drugs, or both. A kilo of cocaine was found in a bag near where the deceased, or the young man, Alonzo Beltran Lara, was laid. He was not dead at that time. However, Mr. Barney Harris, who was found in the bedroom shot numerous times, who had on a vest, face covered, and gloves, was deceased at that time. Our investigators spent many hours along with our district attorney's office and their investigator on the crime scene. Mr. Alonzo Beltran Lara, died later on that day at the local hospital. Like I said, this was a stash house. Upon conducting a crime scene search, and it was a lengthy crime scene search, many hours that was put in this particular crime scene, because we realized that we had something that we normally don't have here in Alamance County. It was believed that it was technically a home invasion for money and drugs. Numerous guns were used, firearms was used. You could tell it was almost like an old Western shootout, because there were projectiles going into the trailer, coming out of the trailer, hitting other trailers in that particular trailer park. After many hours of investigation by the Alamance County Sheriff's Office and the Alamance County District Attorney's Office, on Sunday, April 11th, several days later, 2021, at 1 o'clock a.m., Steven Alexander Stewart Jr., black male, 32, of 304 Old Lillaville Road in Wadesboro, North Carolina, was arrested and charged with first-degree burglary, An additional charge later filed was first-degree murder. He is believed to be one of the individuals involved in the homicide and shooting into the trailer. There were other vehicles that was picked up. Vehicles that was used was picked up on camera. Through research of our people all over that particular area, we were able to identify a couple vehicles which would lead us to Mr. Stewart. This past Sunday night, early Monday morning, a search of the home of Mr. Stewart was conducted in Wadesboro. Firearms and related objects that were tied to the crime scene was found in that particular location. We have had the media ask us why we waited so late to put any information or to hold this press conference. Folks, I can tell you right now, when we are dealing with the Mexican drug cartel, somebody is probably going to die as a result of this right here somewhere else. And we did not want to put it out there until we could get good grips on what we had going on here. It is very challenging, first of all, to do an investigation of this depth, and also you've got to take in consideration other individuals that may have been kin to these particular people involved in this, their safety. And to this day, I'll tell you right now, as sheriff, I'm still worried about some retaliation, because the Mexican cartels, they don't forget. They're going to pay somebody back somewhere, and that concerns me greatly as sheriff of this county. Now, we ask, why is the cartels here in Alamance County? I wish I knew all the answers, but I can tell you Interstate 85, Interstate 40 corridor has really caused Alamance County to be a great place to deposit their drugs and ship them elsewhere into North Carolina. Since, and this is alarming to me, since February 19, 2021, the drug money seized by our agencies and other agencies working with us. Since February 19, over $2,292,890 in drug monies have been taken off the streets from cartel members and drug dealers here in Alamance County. Just us on that. A total of 129.324 kilos of cocaine has been seized. We've never seen that much cocaine at one time in this county. The cost of the amount of cocaine since February 2021 has been that we've taken off the street has been $6,466,200 worth of cocaine, and that's in the packages. They take the kilos, which is 2.2 pounds, and they'll make 4 kilos out of it. And this is just what you pay right now for these kilos. Prior to February 19th, our street value when we buy a kilo of cocaine was $50,000. Buy it today is $38,000. What is that telling me is sure the quantity is getting bigger and bigger because, in my opinion, of our open southern borders. It's coming into the inner sectors of our state and our nation. At this time, I will ask our district attorney, we'll go over something while we're here. This is a seizure. You can see the amounts of money. And this is just, there's other seizures that has been done, but we're not putting out there at this time for security reasons involved. Monies, unbelievable. More money, unbelievable. Here was a seizure of over 100 and some pounds of crystal meth that was to come to Alamance County. This was taken down near the border of South Carolina and North Carolina. We had an officer that spent several days in Mexico working with the Mexican authorities and DEA on this. More kilos of cocaine. I want to say to the public that if you've got any kind of special activities or suspicious activities in your community, please call us. It's our job to investigate and find out what it is. And I assure you, the people in this trailer park had seen a lot of suspicious things, but I'm telling you, people are afraid. People at the trailer park that we feel like where this happened saw some things, but they know what's going on. So I ask the public or anybody with any information pertaining to drug dealers, drug cartels, please call the Alamance County Sheriff's Office or call me personally and talk to me. I will not divulge your name. At this time, I would like to turn it over to our district attorney, who spent many hours on the crime scene with us, and like to ask our district attorney, Mr. Sean Boone, please come forward.
Good afternoon. At this time, the investigation, as the sheriff said, is ongoing. We expect additional charges and possibly additional people to be charged. At this time, Mr. Steven Alexander Stewart has been charged with 1 count of first-degree murder in addition to first-degree burglary. That charge, we may add additional charges to Mr. Stewart and to others who may have been assisting Mr. Stewart. We also have an active warrant out for trafficking in cocaine for another person who we believe was living at the trailer. I believe it's a Juan Laura on the screen there. So at this time, those are the only pending charges that have resulted from this investigation, but we do anticipate other charges as more suspects are identified, as more activity is identified. So thank you so much.
Here are 2 primary investigators, Detective Tony and Sergeant Tyler, who spearheaded this particular investigation. And I would like to open up at this time for any questions. If there's some I can't answer, I will ask them. Yeah. They work around the clock to bring this to the point we have it right now. And I'm going to personally thank both of them. Any questions?
Sure. Tyler Horgan with Fonsafe. So what was the connection between Harris and then these 2 folks, and why was Harris here? Was he here in order to kill Laura, or what was the intention there, I guess?
Well, I can tell you what we learned through the investigation. These Harris and his brother-in-law, which was Mr. Stewart, were following these cartel members and trying to figure out where the locations of their stashes were and their money was, and would go in like a home invasion and try to take the monies and the drugs.
Yeah, hi, Samir, ABC 45. So this should be for the detectives, investigators. So obviously Mr. Harris, based out of the Charlotte area. So what was it like as you guys were investigating, kind of understanding who this person was, and I guess how brutal everything was that happened?
I don't think that particularly who each individual was affects the investigation. All we were looking for were the facts of the matter, and I think that was really the most important part throughout this whole process.
I guess, was it a little surprising? I mean, he's a Charlotte area teacher, also a basketball coach. I mean, this man's kind of a staple in his community. He's a well-respected individual, so is it surprising to see someone like that kind of involved with this?
I don't have any personal opinion on whether or not something would be surprising. In this field, you can really end up with just about anything. So, in my opinion, I don't have one on that particular subject matter.
Thanks.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Hi, Brent Patterson with WF192. You said that there was bullet holes found in other surrounding trailers. Was anybody else injured in this shootout?
No, sir. Thank you, Lord. No one else was injured. like I say, there was 3 other trailers that received, projectiles that went in through the trailer. One of them hit a power box, knocked the power out for one family, and the individuals down there, they were totally scared to death, and they should have been.
And what was the name of this trailer park?
Well, it used to be known as Otter Creek Trailer Park, but it's made, trailer park was just recently sold. I think it's Sunshine Trailer Park.
So, Sheriff, the use of security cameras was pretty vital in this investigation from what I understand. Can you talk to me a little bit about that and the connections that you made with the folks in the trailer park? Because when I was out there earlier, it looks like a lot of the people out there do have surveillance cameras.
Absolutely. There was cameras that was able to pick up the cars that come in. Was involved both ways in this particular case. That gave us some leads that we needed. There were some cell phones seized, the victim's cell phones that gave us a lot of leads.
In regards to Mr. Harris, is this his first time here and his relative? Is this the first time that they've been in Alamance County based off your investigation, or have they been here before?
They have been here before. As a result of some video footage off of Mr. Harris's phone, they had been here looking before.
Are you working with any other agencies to see kind of where Mr. Harris has gone to follow this cartel?
The Federal Drug Enforcement Administration and SBI were contacted on this investigation and did assist us in some of the information that we got.
As far as with Mr. Harris and his relative there who's charged, remind me again how they are related, and then also are there any other folks that are involved with Mr. Harris and his family? Mr. Harris and Mr. Stewart are brother-in-laws. Mr. Harris's sister married Mr. Stewart, and they lived in Wadesboro. I will not comment. There's other people involved that we're in, but that's all I'm going to say about that. We know for a fact there is a warrant out for another young man that we've got information that went back to Mexico real quick. So we're working on that.
Just for clarification on the kind of timeline, the way this all transpired. So this Steven character was following the cartel for a while. They got to the stash house, there was a shootout, and then at some point after that, the man was bound and murdered execution style. Is that kind of how that played out?
Pretty much.
What are some other ways? I know you showed several photos of money and drugs that you all have seized. What are some other ways that you are doing proactively to help deter this criminal activity in Alamance County, especially with the Mexican drug cartels?
A lot of the drugs, the 129 kilos out there, we've been taking off different drug dealers, cartel members here. Let me tell you something. We are trying every way we possibly can to curb the drug cartels and drugs coming into Alamance County. But we have seen a tremendous increase in the amount of drugs since February of this year, which tell me that the borders are open and it's coming across tons. And the sad thing is we may be only getting about 0.5% of the drugs that's coming into this county and this state.
As far as with the drugs and the drugs affiliated with this case, is that drugs that was intended, if you know, to be distributed here in Alamance County, or was that kind of one stop on a stop that they were going to another state?
A lot of it would be distributed here, but a lot of it would be picked up here and taken elsewhere in the state. Any other questions? Please, if you have them, please ask.
I think one of the most shocking things from this case is seeing that with Mr. Harris's background, working in the school system, and I know the question's been asked before with the investigators, but Sheriff, I didn't know if you had any questions or if you even were kind of surprised seeing that, he was a teacher and beloved in his community down near the Charlotte area, seeing that this was kind of what was happening, here in Alamance County.
Well, first of all, nothing surprised me. I've been in this business right at 50 years now. and nothing surprises me. There's people and families that have relatives that violate the law, and a lot of them never know what's going on. So nothing surprised me in this case. Now, I do hate that it had to happen in this county, and we're going to do everything that we can to see that this type of crime and behavior will not happen here again. I can tell you that. We're going to be working hard. Our people have been working around the clock on this, and we're going to follow every single lead there is. Don't care where it takes us. Yes, sir.
How many different agencies were involved in this investigation? And also, all of the stuff that go ahead.
All right, Anson County, Wadesboro PD helped us a lot because that's where these individuals were located, and then of course we had the EA, SBI, our agency working.
And as far as everything that was found in the stash house, as far as weapons or drugs or anything like that, can you kind of dive into what exactly was found there, if anything?
We did locate one firearm within the residence that was of significance to our case.
I guess the one thing that surprised me, that it didn't surprise me, but it did, is wearing a bulletproof vest. Of course, it didn't help Mr. Harris because different vests are made to stop different ammunitions, and he was a loser in that game.
And are you specifically, where you were talking about retribution being kind of a hallmark cartel activity, are you specifically worried about that taking place in Alamance County, or that happening elsewhere?
I'll be honest with you. I fear for some of the family there in Wadesboro. And I still fear here. I don't know. We don't know who else was all involved. I know the cartel. They have the reputation. They don't lose. They're going to pay somebody back. That's what worries me right now. I care about the people in Anson County. I hope nobody gets retaliated against. But you never know when you're dealing with this type of case with people.
And I know you mentioned Mr. Harris was following these different cartels. Was he involved in a particular gang or an organization himself?
Not that we can find at this time. Not saying he was, not saying he was. I know he was involved in that clique. He was doing, trying to do home invasions.
And as far as that, the two members were him and his relative, and then were there other members involved then too, or how large was that clique?
We're looking at other people on both sides. That's all I'll be going to say on that. Anything else? Thank y'all very much, folks. You need to, I appreciate the media being here. We need to let everybody know what's going on in our nation, our state, and our county, because it's getting very, very bad.